right, well, it is noon and it looks like we have a pretty good group here, so we'll go ahead and get started. I've got the familiar bell with me again today, so good to see everyone here. Would anyone like to volunteer to lead us in the pledge? So hard to see on this Zoom screen, but let's see. Stephanie, would you like to do the honors? You happen to be right next to me on the left on this screen.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. So I see we have some guests here today. Raina, it looks like we have maybe our students of the month for this month.
We do. I'd like to introduce Cole Wiles and Mackenzie Kirshner, and they are our October Students of the Month. They'll be presenting the last Thursday in October. So thank you both for making it today. All
right. Welcome, Cole and Mackenzie. And I think Julie Hanrahan has a guest today, too. Julie, are you with us? I don't see her on the list. I see we have Stacy Clendenin with us today. Welcome, Stacy. All right. So let's see, just a couple quick announcements before we get on to the good stuff. We have a Habitat for Humanity work party coming up on Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. I think we have about 10 of us signed up so far. Is Sylvia, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it sounds like we might only be able to do a lot of the back and just a little of the front because they still have some concrete work, but we might work around that. Jim Hoffman has agreed to actually drive out some roadies he's donating tomorrow, and he's driving them out from Albany, so bless him for that. And we'll have a placement. If you have plants that you've offered to bring, please bring them. I'm not promising that we'll use them, but there's a really good chance. There's a meeting with the homeowners this afternoon at 4. I would expect they'll be there on Saturday at 10 o'clock. So bring your shovels, your gloves, your mask, and some good shoes. And we should have fun getting this done, be able to space ourselves out. 10 to about noon. Thanks in advance to Rob Thompson, who's going to be clearing off the weeds. And we're going to do mostly a bark dust cover on the property afterwards. So it's people to dig holes and put in plants. Probably won't even take until noon, depending on how quick we dig and how many show up. Many hands make light work. So hope you can all make it. Even if you're not a digger, perhaps you can just cheer and chat.
All right, thanks, Sylvia. That should be a good time. And like I say, I think we have about 10. We probably have room for a handful more. So if you'd like to participate, let us know and bring your mask and shovel and gloves, and that should be a good time. So a couple days ago, I was on a forum Zoom call with our district governor, Cindy O'Neill, and she wanted me to relay that October is Polio Plus Month, as we've talked about before. And tonight at 7 p.m., there's a Zoom presentation. It's called Rotary Now Leading Change. It's going to have 2 outstanding presenters, John Huco, the General Secretary of Rotary, and then Dr. John, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. It starts with a V, ends with an E, and has a lot of letters in between. He's the polio branch chief and incident manager in the CDC polio emergency response based out of Atlanta. So that ought to be a real good presentation. If you have time tonight at 7, you can go to the Rotary5110.org, and there's a link there to access the Zoom. And then one of the other things that Cindy talked about is that our Rotary Fire Victim Fund that was set up She relayed that 50% of the proceeds are going to the Echo Mountain victims in Lincoln City. So that's a real big part of the fund is going to benefit victims right here in Lincoln County. Lincoln City Rotary is working on that too, and I guess they're matching donations. So that fund is accessible through the district website also. So huge help from district to benefit Lincoln County. I thought that was really neat. Let's see, so I have a few things from today in history. 1860, 11-year-old Grace Bedell writes to Abraham Lincoln telling him that he ought to grow a beard. So this led to the first No Shave November a few weeks later. 1924, US President Calvin Coolidge declares the Statue of Liberty a national monument. In 1966, LBJ signs a bill to create the US Department of Transportation. So with that, I will send it over to our Sergeant at Arms, Bob.
Hello there, Rotarians.
Hello, Bob.
A little better than that. Come on, everybody partake here. Hello there, Rotarians.
Hello,
Bob.
Bob.
Better, not much, but it was a little better. How are you, Ursula? Ursula, did I catch you with a mouthful?
Yeah, no, not almost. I am okay. I'm just, running late as usual.
Well.
Help me a second. What's Levi's Kittle? Sorry, got it.
Excuse me. Keith? Hi, Keith.
Sorry, I'm trying to take roll and it's a little complex right now, so sorry.
I see. Well, we picked the right person to do it then. Any happy bucks out there?
How are you, Bob?
Doretta, how are you?
I'm fine, Bob. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty darn good, thanks.
Been pretty nice out there.
Oh, it's beautiful
Autumn.
weather.
So I would like to donate $25 to Salvation Army in Nathan Perry's name. Nathan, a couple of weeks ago, gave me the honor of going through the Salvation Army facility and learning a little bit more about what they do over there and seeing what they do, and found as club administrator that if we need in the future, when we start to have in-person meetings, extra place to meet, they've got a really nice facility. So just wanted to thank Nathan for his time and his information. It was great to see what they do, and $25 to Salvation Army.
Thanks, Doretta.
All right.
Good. Yeah. Anybody else? Where's Mr. Wienert Jr.? Mr. Wienert Jr.
Here I am. I'm here.
Oh, hi. Hi.
Hi.
Now, you did something special today for a couple little girls. Why don't you tell us about that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I did have a daughter who had a 4-year birthday, so I'm happy for that. I was going to bring that up. I wanted to let everybody else have an opportunity, though.
Okay. Well, we're kind of pinpointed on you right now. So isn't there a little addition to your family as of today?
Yeah. We've got a little bit of vermin running around the house, so we decided to go find a mouser. So we got a mouser named Hammy that we adopted today.
Oh, I'll bet those little girls are happy about that.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah. I'm really happy about it too.
Yeah, if you get one cat, you really should have two.
I'm not taking your cat.
Oh.
I'm not taking your cat.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's not even an option then. Well, how happy are you about making those little girls happy?
Well, between the birthday and the kitty cat, let's go with $50 happy.
Okay, I think that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You were going to bring all that up though, weren't you?
Absolutely. I said, I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity.
Oh, you're so fair.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else with happy dollars out there? Come on. Somebody must be happy about something. The sun's out today.
I'm pretty happy, Bob.
Oh, are you, Ursula?
Yeah, my daughter and her girlfriend are coming to town today, and they're going to be here for a week. And they stay at another house so we have socially distant dinners in the backyard when they come to visit. But I'm very excited that they're coming. So I'll be $25 happy.
Oh, well, good for you. How old is your daughter?
She's 25.
Oh my gosh, 25. Good. Okay.
Hey, Bob, I have some happy bucks.
Oh, you do?
I do. I tried to raise my hand and you didn't see me.
Yeah. Well, I see you now.
Well, I wanted to give a quick Cody update, and I want to put $50 for Ursula and her Paul Harris, because the hospital's done such a good job for him. But he finished his chemo last week, and he went in for his PET scan yesterday, and the cancer is gone. And so it's really super news. But
let's have a hand.
Yeah.
So thank you for everybody's prayers. It was, I mean, he's not out of the woods, obviously, but I mean, we're certainly in a better spot today than we were yesterday. So
good. Well, congratulations.
So, thank you, Ursula. You guys tell the staff was awesome for him. So thank you.
I'm so glad to hear that. And he had his chemotherapy in Newport?
He did his R-CHOP in Newport, and then he did his long stints in Corvallis. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
Just kind of reminiscing a little bit, I remember when my youngest son went through his last chemo, and then all the nurses and the doctors, everybody came into his room and they started dancing they've got their little chemo song. And yeah, that last dose is quite a deal. Well, good. We're very happy for you. Anybody else? Okay, I'll turn it back over to Freddie. Thank you very much for your generosity.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob, and thanks, Ken, for sharing. That is great news, and I'll be $50 happy for that too. So, and then I had to comment on Levi's Zoom screen. He's got the Brady Bunch, and I'm trying to figure out who's missing out of which square he is in that. But
I was working on makeup points.
Very nice, Levi. All right, so our program today is a longtime Rotarian, yet still a red badge somehow. Our own Stephanie Linn, owner of K-Shell and the Wave Radio. She's going to present today's program to talk about the radio business, and I understand she'll be telling us a little bit about herself too. So with that, I will let Stephanie take it away.
Well, thanks, Freddie. And I have technical support today with John, because I'm not too savvy with the slides, but I guess we could start with a slide. Slide number 1. Today, I'm going to move through the world of radio nationally, locally, and a little bit about how I got involved. I hope you enjoy the ride. Now, nationally, radio is still very popular and growing. There are over 15,000 radio stations in America. This includes both AM and FM. Interesting fact, women radio ownership is only about 6%, of which I represent. Slide 2. When we entered the COVID-19 lifestyle, national radio research by the Radio Advertising Bureau wanted to know if it affected radio listenership. Slide 3. Listeners spend more time with radio now. How much radio time do Americans consume? A lot. Average of 9.5 hours a week. Slide 4. It's a very trusted media. And slide 5, everyone listens at home, lots of listening there. Slide 6, now this is a really important slide. If you can read the categories at the bottom of each of the graph sections, it shows the a percentage of time spent, and radio is at 91% of the consumption time, and it's a big deal. And when you compare it to other things people can spend time on, like Facebook or different things they can do, radio really kills it, just really slays it. And then slide 7, the future of radio is really secure. A lot of it has to do with the spirit of radio, and that it helps our communities like no other media. Now, a little bit about me. No slide. I'm from Salem and born and raised, and this is how I got into radio. I married it. In Newport, I was born and raised in Salem, but I'm a multi-generation Oregonian, and my connections to Newport include my great aunt, Belle Ross. She was a police dispatcher and worked for Bose, and she was an artist. And I had a great uncle who was the baker at Safeway, and my great aunt was retired from the JC market here. So Newport was my at the beach place for family. In fact, my mother's cousin Peggy Boyd and her husband had the ambulance service out of Nye Beach. And this is how I got into radio when I married Richard. He's an engineer, an announcer, and program director. I styled wigs and sold wigs and toupees at Kay's World of Wigs. That's the next slide. It's a family business. I was there for 20 years, but we always wanted to do something together. And since my husband's really crappy at styling hair, we decided to do radio. Now, the next slide. In the mid-90s, the FCC created a special program to encourage more station ownership for entry-level owners. We were able to get a license for Glen Eden Beach, and KSHL 97.5 was born. Did you know, in the past, it was more difficult to own a radio station? Before those changes were made that made it possible for us to get a license, the FCC required proof of 2 years of operation capital on hand without any income. That was a lot of money. So it kept a lot of regular people out of the business until they made changes in the early 90s. But what to play? Well, format is up to the broadcaster. We chose country. It was a time of George Strait, Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire. Country music was new to us, but we knew it was a big audience, and it still is. Interesting fact. My husband had to phone a friend to get the pronunciation of many of the country artists. We also chose to locally program KSHL to provide local content for our commercials and programming. Now, satellite programming is a choice, but it's bartered usually, and so you get out-of-market ads for places like Home Depot, Boston Market, 1-800 businesses, etc. But we wanted our listeners to buy local. Slide 11. Then the Wave came along. 3 years ago, we built 97.5 The Wave, and we were able to offer a rock format that included the best hits and current rock hits. Again, this was a local programmed only format choice. But how do radio stations make money? Well, I still get asked this quite a lot, and I'm kind of surprised, but people think we can make money by playing music. But that's kind of not legal. It's called payola, and that's a federal crime. There were scandals in the early 60s over DJs being paid to play the early rock and roll hits like in New York, and they ended up having some jail time. So no, we don't make our money playing the music. What radio is a proactive marketing medium. Radio creates interest and desire for your business by communicating who you are, what you do, and how listeners can get a hold of you. I have taken dozens of marketing training classes over the past 20 plus years. I love the power of radio marketing. A local example of radio. Tom Becker, I don't know, okay, this is in the Wayback Machine for us. Tom Becker was the original owner of KNPT, and Mo Namey, Mo's Restaurants, used radio very effectively for both local and valley marketing. Mo produced a coastal weather report each week that included her message about dining at Mo's when you come to Newport. This aired on radio stations in Salem and Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, And Mo also flooded the local KNPT airwaves with her Mo's Restaurant message for tourists and locals alike. Interesting fact, many folks outside the Newport area thought Mo was a man. And if you ever had the chance to know her, you'd understand that. Second interesting fact, the original KNPT AM towers were where Fred Meyer's is now. My husband and I were there when they were taken down. Tom Becker let my husband take 2 sections of tower home to Salem for my husband's ham radio station. What's the biggest mistake people make in marketing? I don't need a slide right now, Jim.
Next slide.
No slide is all. It is fine.
Okay.
What is the biggest mistake people make in marketing in general? And that is by asking, how did you hear about us? Well, people lie. They don't mean to, but real people don't know. I've met many business people that ask their clients, how did you hear about us? One client even had a 3-page marketing survey for customers to fill out, and not one question would give them true insight for marketing. And frankly, radio is not often the first answer. Why? Because radio is a friend and it's a relationship like no other. And it's a word of mouth times thousands. But don't worry, big companies make big mistakes in marketing too. A few years ago, Motel 6, you know, will leave the lights on and the folksy Tom Bodette. Well, they asked their customers to answer the question when they checked in is, how did you hear about us? Their #1 reply was television. Now, this should have made the big shots at Motel 6 laugh because Motel 6 had never advertised on TV, only radio. Motel 6 customers were still really familiar with the slogan and the spokesperson, and they associated with TV because it was a choice on the questionnaire and it looked like a good answer. And then, you know, what did they do? Well, they stopped advertising on radio and started to do TV ads. But what happened? Sales kind of dropped. And they had to then hire a research company to figure out what happened. And apparently a TV picture of a cheap hotel room is not very effective. But the word, you know, the theater of the mind of a welcoming spot was far more effective, and they went back to radio. So here's some good choices when you want to find out about marketing. And it doesn't matter whether you're using radio or not, but questions to ask would be about the lifestyle. Lifestyle being, what is your favorite music? Do you get your mail at home, or do you get it
had some
at
issues
the post
today
office?
too.
And how do you get your TV service? Do you have your own home, own your own home, or do you rent? And do you subscribe to the paper? Which one? What's gender, age? Lifestyle will tell you more about how to reach out for your marketing. Radio is complicated. It's an entertainment medium. It's a marketing tool, but most importantly, it is a community emergency information medium. Radio and emergencies. The Red Cross, FEMA, and pretty much any emergency service preparation list includes food, water, and a battery or crank operated radio. Our recent fire event has offered a chilling and real example of emergency communications and the role of radio. Many residents had no power, no cell service, and no internet. This is really common in a disaster emergency. Local radio stations turn on a dime to become emergency radio broadcasters. And here's how that's done. AM radio is no longer the main artery for broadcast emergencies. Both AM and FM broadcast radios are considered equal in providing information. Each band offers great benefits. Disaster planning always recommends a radio with batteries and a crank, or crank radio, and your radio should have both AM and FM. AM coverage in our area is pretty limited, and FM signals are better than AM for Lincoln County coverage due to better coverage signal area. But both are important because in the event of a major disaster, you never know which broadcasters are going to be operating. All AM and FM broadcast stations are important. All perform required EAS, Emergency Alert System, emergency tests, including weekly and monthly. In fact, about an hour and a half ago, we had a tsunami drill on our EAS system. The FCC does not require any broadcast stations to install and maintain any emergency equipment. It's up to the individual broadcaster to determine what backup plans they want to provide listeners. Locally, there is a little bit of a misconception about which station to listen to. There's no such thing as a designated station. All local, meaning coverage area, AM and FM broadcast stations are broadcasting for the best interest of their coverage area communities right here. So whichever local station operating in the emergency is your go-to station. All you need to do is listen for an operating local station on AM or FM. Just tune the radio to the strongest local signal, and that's your station. Throughout the entire fire, all the from rely over all of Lincoln deal with and things that very, very careful about the information we put. They had to their cars to listen to the radio.
Stephanie, I think your audio is cutting out.
Many stations located on our crest were without power, including K-Shell. We have a generator, but it was not operating due to it aged out. And I had the bid for the replacement one received 1 week before the emergency. Total bummer. But here we are. We're putting the new one in soon, and we will have full operational capability at both transmitters. And local broadcast is the answer to vital communications in an emergency. Be ready. Gather 8 AM FM with extra batteries ready, and we'll do our best to keep information airing. Slide 12. Any questions? Thank you.
I have a question, if nobody else has. Stephanie, does your radio, or does radio generally broadcast better on sunny days or rainy days, or is there any difference?
You know, there is a difference, especially if there's like a thunderstorm or something to that effect. And moisture in itself is kind of an issue with AM radio because the AM signal travels along the ground and it has conductivity through copper wires in the ground. If that ground gets dried out too much, it can affect the signal on an AM site. That's why you find out that those towers are in swampy ground, like KNPT and KCUP are both in marshy areas, and that's because the copper strapping needs the conductivity of moisture. And then of course, electrical storms would affect all radio to some degree, FM a little more, because we're generally on hills and they're line of sight.
Thank you.
Stephanie, I have a question. What's your coverage zone for your stations?
We're called countywide. We have signal coverage. KSHL is slightly larger than the wave. KSHL runs from about Tillamook to nearly Florence. The only obstruction is the hill south and near Florence. And we go east easily to Philomath, and there's spots in the valley that you can hear it. I've heard it at the Portland airport.
Oh, thanks. Any other questions for Stephanie? All right, well, thanks, Stephanie. And as you know, we're going to vaccinate 50 children against polio in your name as a thank you for presenting today. So much appreciated and great job.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to our secretary, Keith, today for attendance.
Sonia, were you going to do that, or do you want me to do it?
I've got 42 people. Percentage wise, I'm not sure, Keith. It's probably more than 50, well more than 50%. That sounds
Yeah, we're probably up
good.
around 70%. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want me to do the 50-50 drawing, we can do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we had, nobody else has added on. Okay, so we've got 10 takers, we got $50 in there. So the winner's gonna get $25. And we're gonna spin the wheel. Oh shucks, you can't see it. Oh darn it. Hold on a second, I'll be right there. Okay, all right, I just messed that up real bad. Okay, I guess I'll just spin the wheel myself. Spin the wheel. One of these days I'll figure out how you guys can see this. Oh, it's between Keith and Freddie. It landed on Keith.
All right, congratulations, Keith. So close, darn it.
So why don't you donate my share to the Salvation Army?
Awesome, okay.
All right, well, thanks, Sonia. And how about our social media award, John?
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg has kicked me off of our Rotary page. I don't know, so I have a phone call into Mark. So I got to thank Keith and Diane for helping me out as I talk with Mark. And this week's winner is Lola Jones.
All right, congratulations to Lola. Is she on today?
Woohoo!
Oh, there she is. So that one of the things I was going to announce earlier, and I forgot to, is that this week was our first vocational lunch group meeting. And I think we had 11 people on. It was really great. We supported Panini. Diane has done a really great job of facilitating all of this. Diane, would you like to talk about that briefly?
Sure. Lola was gracious enough to be she's on my committee, and she was gracious enough to be our first speaker this session, and she just did a yeoman's job. We learned so much about Samaritan House and Lola and her background. And Freddie is going to be our speaker next month. If anybody else wants to join, we do these vocational lunches in a smaller meeting format, and you get to talk about your business, which is a good thing. So Freddie will be talking about Advantage Real Estate and his life in Rotary next month, and it will be on November 11th. And again, if you would like to be included, please send me an email. Thanks, Freddie.
All right, well, thanks, Diane. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and I think it's great to support the local restaurants and businesses. And Lola did an amazing job this week talking about Samaritan House too, so thanks for that, Lola. Let's see, any other last minute announcements? We're a little early today.
Freddie, if everybody looks at Lola Jones's picture, you're all seeing the next Rotarian.
That's right.
We got another little member to the lunch club here. He's having some apples.
Seems like you just had him.
Yep, little Forrest is going to be 6 months old at the end of the month.
Good Lord.
I'm pretty sure he's outgrown that Oregon State onesie by now.
Oh, well, Big Bob was smart. He got me the 18-month size. So, he'll be into it by
still
tomorrow.
To come.
Just in time to watch the Beavers play, huh, Big Bob?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we're keeping an eye on him.
All right, any other last minute announcements?
Yeah, Freddie, this is Sonia. I forgot to do the member incentive award, and okay. It looked like Jeff Peterson won that. I believe that's $5.
All right, is Jeff on today?
Hey, I'm
hey,
here.
there he is. All right, congratulations.
Hey.
Thanks.
All right, anybody else?
Well, Freddie, why don't you ask Guy if he wants to talk, just to introduce what his program is going to be next week. I think
Yeah, that was next on the agenda here. So yeah, take it away, Guy.
Well, the agenda is because it's October and it's World Series time. The agenda is little known baseball stories that everyone should know, or how to win free drinks at sports bars for the rest of your life playing baseball trivia. And I want you to know you need to have a piece of paper and pencil handy, because these stories are going to have little questions at the end. And whoever wins is going to get a big prize, that a baseball and a bat that I'm donating from the dollar store. So be ready.
That one sounds like it's worth tuning into for sure. So don't miss next Thursday. Thanks,
and I want
Guy.
to make sure Ken Riley's there.
All the baseball fans must join us for sure. All right, well, we're looking forward to that one. Thanks, Guy. And let's see, last but not least, how about the 5-way test? Ursula, since you're right next to me on the screen, would you mind taking us out with the 5-way test?
Okay, the 5-way test of the things we think, say, and or do. 1, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
2, is it fair?
Is it fair to all concerned?
3, will it build
goodwill and better friendships?
4, will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
And 5, is it fun?
Is it fun?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a great week. See y'all next time.